Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vineyard podcast. My name is Rodrigo Narado, and I just wanted to touch base on why I haven't been really making any videos. I know it's been a couple weeks, a couple months, but the reason is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to make a long video. I just want to really explain what has been going on. As of June 2nd, on a Friday, my father had a heart attack, and he's fine now. Thank God. Everything was, it was stressful. Couple of weeks were very, very stressful. But when June 2nd came, he had a heart attack around 10 o'clock. I rushed over because I work at community services, and he was in Eggertown near the Santander Bank. Luckily, a barber across the street knows my dad, and my dad is very well known here in the Brazilian community. And he's been, like I've mentioned before, he was like one of the first Brazilians here on the Vineyard. Saw him asking for help on the ground, so he ran over. He called the other barber, which is a little younger than me, but he knows me very well. I was actually his first customer. His name is also Rodrigo. When he was in high school, he was always at the barber shop, and saw that he had some interest in cutting hair, so I gave him an opportunity, and I was his first client. Wasn't the best cut, but it was pretty good for someone doing it his first time. But Rodrigo called me. He's like, "Hey, man, your dad is here on the ground. He's not feeling so well. The ambulance is just getting here." So I rushed over. I got out of work. I told my boss. My boss was like, "Hey, everything's going to be okay. Go see your dad." And I want to just mention I have the best staff ever. And boss. Very, very supportive throughout this whole week, and still supporting me. There's always little things going on, and so I can't complain there. The staff was very supportive, always asking me if I needed anything, and my boss as well. And it's not just the department I work at; it's the whole community services in general. Mainly IWIC where I work, but my boss was very, very supportive. She is an angel. I treat her like she were my second mom. I call her my American mom. But I rushed over to my father, and I saw that he was feeling a lot of pain, and it was hard to see that. Not knowing what to do. I just had to let the EMTs do their thing, and my dad was more concerned with his car being parked, and I was like, "Dad, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay." So they told me to go straight to the hospital. The EMTs did, so I rushed over there. By the time I got there, my mom was already there. She's a warrior, my mom. She was very, very strong throughout the whole process, and I was just wondering, what was going on. I assumed it was a heart attack or a stroke. I don't know. But at the time, it made sense for it to be more of a heart attack because he had his hand on his heart the whole time. And he, by the time he got to the hospital, they did some testing, and then immediately he got rushed over to Boston, flown out. And that was hard because there was this one moment that he was there, and he had they gave him like sleeping medication, so they're trying to get him to sleep to get on the chopper and the helicopter so he can fly out, and so he wasn't like vomiting or anything, and so he was fighting against that, but to him it seemed like he was saying goodbye. And so he called me over, and I was like, "What's up, Dad?" And I grabbed his hand, and I was petting his head the whole time, and it was very tough. I had to stay strong. I saw my mom, as being an only child, like I was like, I got to be the man here. Like I got to show that I can't show weakness. I can't cry. I can't do anything. But I realized it was okay. Like that crying is normal, and when my dad said, Rodrigo, come here. I grabbed his hand and I was like, what's up? Talk to me. And he was like, I think this is goodbye. I think I'm saying goodbye. And then that just crushed my heart. That was so hard to hear because I didn't know what to do. And so I calmly looked over to the nurse. I was like, nurse, my dad said that he's fighting against something. Did you give him any medication? He's like, yeah, we gave him sleeping medication. And there was like, I'm not exaggerating. There was like 15 people in that room, in that small room, trying to help him. And they did everything they could do, and they did an amazing job. And I understand that there's so much going on that sometimes you forget to tell people things. But I just wish they had told me, like, hey, we're going to give him some medication, just a heads up. They're going to put him to sleep a little bit. So he just explained the situation. But there's so many people, and I didn't know who was in charge. And so when they told me that, it was such a relief. So many things came to my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, for a split second, like, I had 1,000 things in my mind. And it was very tough to see him in that situation and to hear him say those things. But the moment she told me, I felt so relieved. And I told him, I was like, hey, Dad, you're just going to bed, buddy. We're gonna be right behind you. You're flying out. And he's like, okay. And he felt, after I told him that, he felt a lot more secured and, relaxed. And so it took like 30 seconds and he was sleeping. So, it was interesting to see all this, and to go through all this. I don't wish this upon anyone, but the whole car ride, from the hospital, I went and grabbed his car, brought it back to home, and then picked up my mom and went to the ferry, and kept going to kept going to to my mom and saying, like, Mom, like, are you okay? Mom, is everything okay with you? And the whole time her saying, yes, everything's okay with me. And so it was just gonna fix this right here because this doesn't deserve to be the way that it is. But the whole time witnessing that and seeing her go through that, and seeing her, how strong she was giving me faith, was giving me strength as well. And so that car ride from the ferry, once we got to Woods Hole to the hospital, because he got flown out to Brigham Hospital, and by the time I got there, surgery was done. Doctor said his heart was great, his valves were great, and that everything was good. But it was just tough to see him unconscious, like with a tube in his mouth and down his throat, oxygen, and and to see this big scar. But I was so relieved when the doctor said that if he recovers, he's going to be fine. So the next day, he was conscious. After the surgery, though, he was feeling a lot of pain, obviously, and he couldn't cough, he couldn't do anything, which is obvious. And so I couldn't stay next to him. I couldn't see him in that situation, because I wish I was suffering for him. I would rather be in his spot than see him go through with everything that he went through. So to sum it all up, these past couple of weeks, my dad is a landscaper. He's been running a landscaping company for 40 years. So I asked the doctor, what's going on? Is there any concern? He was like, no, your dad just needs to do some rehab, needs to gain his strength. The reason why he needed to gain his strength is because a week after his surgery, they noticed that he had after testing, they noticed that there was some stroke symptoms. It wasn't really strokes, but they say strokes. There's two of them. It seemed like he had gone through two strokes, but nothing with his left side. Everything was fine. He had a little difficulty walking because he was very weak. He lost a lot of blood, I guess, during the surgery. So, but after like a week and a half, he was great. He was doing so well, and so, I was just managing his company after that, working in the office, or training clients in the morning, working in the office, training more clients, and paying someone to mow the lawn and giving him a schedule and billing and sending invoices and all this. So this year has been the craziest year of my life, and managing 3 online classes that I usually do around now at 9:30 at night. So yeah, everything's good. I'm good. My dad's good. Mom's good. Work's great. I can't complain. God is good. I've always learned to have a lot of faith, and if it weren't for, my fiance, my friends, my work, my mom, my family, I don't know what I would do. So I had a great support system. I can't thank these people enough. I'm super grateful. And now I want to start, as summer is ending, I want to start doing more interviews in the Brazilian, Jamaican, Serbian, American, just the community in general, and to hear more about people's lives. So, and hear their story, because again, our purpose here is everyone has a story. And so if you're listening and you have a great story, you think your story is interesting, please reach out, follow me on Instagram. It's at the Vineyard PC, PC for podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify, on YouTube. So again, thank you for all the support, everyone. This is why I haven't been around lately, but I hope that you guys can understand and continue watching and listening to us here talk about other people's lives. All right. Thank you again. It's us.